On Tuesday, June 2nd, 6 U.S. states will have their primary elections deciding which candidates move on to the November 3rd general election. Welcome to the 20th episode in our series analyzing the 2026 primary elections for all 50 U.S. states. In today's episode, we will review the state of New Jersey.
How you doing?
This is a state with a population of around 9.5 million people. This gives them 12 seats in the House of Representatives. Currently, Democrats hold a majority of their House seats, 9 out of those 12. They also hold both Senate seats, and the governor is Democrat Mejia. Many of these congressional races in the state will be safe for the Democratic nominee, which means the real election occurs in the primary. Sure, your worst Democrat is on average better than the best Republican, which holds true once you recognize John Fetterman as a genocidal MAGA Republican, not a Democrat. I digress. The majority of New Jersey's slate doesn't represent the people. They represent corporate donors, war profiteers, and others in the billionaire robber baron Epstein class. Cory Booker is an example of one of the worst and most corrupt establishment Democrats in Congress. Sadly, he doesn't have a primary challenger and will consequently serve another 6 years. There are a few other congressional districts with similar disappointment, but there are also many with inspiring candidates worth voting for. Before going into more detail on those candidates, let's first discuss the primary process that candidates and voters must navigate to win. New Jersey uses a standard partisan framework for their primary elections. The participation in the election is closed, meaning registered voters must be affiliated with a party to participate in their primary. The win condition is plurality-based, meaning the candidate with the most votes wins. There won't be a runoff election. This is the only chance for the primary candidate to become the nominee. Unfortunately, we are well past the May 12th deadline for new registrations, and New Jersey also requires an even earlier deadline for affiliated voters to switch parties. Whoever is a registered Democrat at this moment will be the only voters able to support the secular lefty-approved candidates. Voting is important. Elections still decide which candidates end up in positions of power that make life and death decisions. Our current Congress, the 119th, has been a spineless and complicit group of failures. Not all of them, but the overwhelming majority in both parties. If any political party or movement wants to get more voters out on election day, there have to be candidates worth voting for. When candidates are campaigning, just saying you are not Donald Trump or not a Republican is not a campaign message. Millions of Americans, myself included, are tired of this political non-answer. Saying vague platitudes and cliches as so often said by spineless and corrupt Democrats is also unacceptable. Vague statements like, I support healthcare, but then have no other supporting details. Well, that's great, but what does that mean? Do they support fixing the system by implementing Medicare for all? Or is their support only for the for-profit corporate healthcare structure that harms millions of people every day? When I look for candidates to spotlight, these are the policies I look for on their campaign web pages. If a candidate doesn't have a policy page or a social media presence, that's the first and final red flag, and I move on to the next candidate to research. On the other hand, any candidate who has a decent policy page and has been endorsed by any one of the 10 groups listed will be considered for approval. The only exception is when there are several decent progressive candidates running in the same race that have also happened to been endorsed by different groups that I trust. Then it becomes a comparison of who has a better policy page, better financing through small dollar donors, and who is providing evidence of being out and engaging with their local communities. Putting in the actual work of meeting your constituents and earning their votes is how grassroots progressive campaigns will win against the corrupt money interests that have poisoned our elections for decades. But those campaigns still need resources, and any additional visibility will help their message reach more potential voters. In New Jersey, we already mentioned how the Senate seat is basically lost since Cory Booker is running unopposed. In the general, sure, vote for him since he will be probably better than the Republican, and there won't be an inspiring and competitive third option. Likewise, in the 1st, 3rd, 5th, and 9th districts, same rule applies. In the 4th district, both candidates are non-inspiring at best, or empty suits for corporate interests at worst. Whoever ends up winning the nomination will unlikely be able to flip that district by the 30 or more points needed to do so. For the remaining 7 districts, there are inspiring candidates worth voting for. Candidates running to be public servants, improving your life by implementing several of the policies listed earlier. 2 of these candidates are already in Congress doing what they can to mitigate the damage by Trump's fascist regime. We'll discuss them and the other secular lefty-approved candidates we need in our next Congress. Links to the campaign websites will be listed in the video description. Starting in the 2nd District, there are 4 candidates in the Democratic primary, but only one who meets the approval requirements. That is Terri Reese, who is also endorsed by citizens' impeachment. This district is currently held by 73-year-old geriatric MAGA Republican Jefferson Drew. He's running again for re-election and won in 2024 by a comfortable 17-point margin, about 65,000 votes. Democratic voters in the 2nd. If you want the best chance of flipping this district, support Terri Reese in the primary. Next, in the 6th District, the voters will have 2 amazing options to choose from out of the 3, which concerns me as that may allow the 3rd option, the 74-year-old geriatric corporatist Democrat Frank Pallone, to win another term. This guy has been in that seat since 1987. For fuck's sakes, Frank. Time to retire, don't you think? Seeing as how he's too stubborn to retire, voters in the 6th District. I don't care if you vote for Katie Bansil or John Hu. Both are fantastic candidates who are equally deserving of your vote. They're both endorsed by Citizens Impeachment and Track APAC. At the time of this recording, Katie is also endorsed by Progressive Victory, so technically she has one more endorsement than John out of the 10 trusted groups. Otherwise, these two are relatively equal on policy, both supporting impeachment of Trump, abolishing ICE, Medicare for all, and so many other policies we need. Whoever wins the primary will be an excellent Congress member after winning again in November. Many primary voters have historically just voted for the incumbents, and many don't bother informing themselves of other options. I am very concerned the 2 progressive choices will split their voter base, allowing the incumbent to win his 20th term. Best case scenario, he doesn't earn more than 20% of the vote. In which case then, whether you vote for John Hu or Katie Bansil, you will be voting for a public servant to improve lives. Voters in New Jersey's 6th District, please make that happen. In the 7th, this is another Republican-held district. Of the 4 candidates running in the Democratic primary, only one meets the approval requirements. That is Brian Varela. No endorsements at this time, but Brian is another candidate who is running on Medicare for all, rejecting corporate PAC money, and many more of those progressive policies we need. In 2024, the Republican incumbent won this district by a small margin of about 5.5 points, a difference of around 23,000 votes. If the best candidate, the most progressive and inspiring candidate, wins in the primary, that will be the candidate with the best chance of earning more votes to flip the seat in November. Voters in the 7th District, that candidate is Brian Varela. In the 8th District, the Democratic voters will have 2 options. They can vote again for the corrupt corporate and AIPAC-backed incumbent, or they can vote for Mussab Ali, a candidate running on many of those same progressive policies we need. Here from his campaign's homepage, he writes, "Rent is out of control, healthcare is unaffordable, ICE rates terrorize our neighbors. The incumbent won't fight for you, Mussab will." Mussab is currently endorsed by Citizens Impeachment and Track APAC. Voters in the 8th District, don't miss your opportunity to elect a public servant. On June 2nd, vote for Mussab Ali. For voters in the 10th District, this time, the voters should re-elect the incumbent, LaMonica McIver. It's quite rare for me to endorse an incumbent, seeing as how there are only about 20 or so who are public servants fighting for the best interests of all people. We need to add to their numbers and re-elect those who are already in Congress. Granted, her campaign website is not the best I have seen, but she is endorsed by the Working Families Party. Additionally, she has been using her authority as a member of Congress to at least attempt oversight, such as at the Delaney Hall concentration camp. During a visit on May 9, 2025, the Newark mayor was also with the group when ICE decided to arrest the mayor. During this incident, LaMonica stepped in between ICE and the mayor and has since been charged with assault. An absurd claim by ICE, but it's still being entertained by the courts. LaMonica McIver is putting in the work to be a public servant and improve lives. I hope the voters of the 10th District agree and re-elect LaMonica. Likewise, in the 11th District, there is another incumbent that should continue to serve. Granted, yes, Analilia Mejia is a new member of Congress, only just recently winning the special election on April 16th to fill the seat vacated by New Jersey's current governor. She is endorsed by Our Revolution, Progressive Victory, Track APAC, and the Working Families Party. Everyone who voted for Analilia earlier this year, continue to vote for her again on June 2nd, and once more in November. The last approved candidate in New Jersey is Hamawy, running in the 12th District. This is an open seat with a comically large field of 13 candidates. The geriatric 81-year-old incumbent decided that it's finally time to retire. Good. If only the 3 other geriatrics thought to do the same. While there are possibly several good people running for this seat, there's only one approved candidate worthy of your support and vote. In addition to support for Medicare for All and other progressive policies, Adam Hamawy is endorsed by Justice Democrats, Our Revolution, PALPAC, and Track APAC. Citizens Impeachment did endorse in this race, supporting Kyle Little, and Working's Family Party endorsed Sue Altman. I'm sure they're both good people and decent candidates, but there's clearly a better option that the progressive vote needs to rally around to win this seat. Voters in New Jersey's 12th District, vote for Adam Hamawy and send another public servant into Congress. And there you have it, folks. Secular Lefty approved candidates for New Jersey. Having an entire Democratic slate from New Jersey would be nice, but having more of those Congress members be public servants would be even better. Hopefully the voters in New Jersey will make that happen. Do you agree or disagree? Is there any important information I missed? Who will you be voting for? Let me know in the comments. Be sure you're subscribed and ring that bell to be notified of my newest videos. If you found anything I said in today's video useful, please give it a like and share it everywhere. Together, we can make Americans more educated, and hopefully that will result in better election outcomes. Until the next video, please consider checking out my other work on this channel. Any additional watch time and shares will help the channel reach more people and is greatly appreciated. Thank you again for listening. Take care.